everyone, welcome to our brand new episode of the internet's most hated mafia-themed geek podcast, Long Coat Mafia Podcast. It is I, the Reverend Godfather, the show's main host and frontman. And this week I have a co-host. That's right, I have a co-host this week.
And his name is John C.
Shut up, folks. I was waiting 8 weeks for that shit to do. We have a new mixer, and that's part of what the mixer can do is add sound effects. So, screw all of you. It had to be done. I was waiting so damn long.
Hey, you mean we don't have the corporate
Sound
machine? Where's that at?
I think I got rid of that.
Oh.
But it's built into the new mixer. But
it doesn't have wood paneling.
I could add it.
Oh,
Shit.
Yeah, I know where some is. We could add some to that thing.
But to be serious, folks, Big Candy is finally back in studio with us this week.
I have risen from my deathbed to come in and record.
That's right. He was in his deathbed. Shit was happening, yeah, so therefore,
bad.
It was. Welcome back. So for some of you, a lot of the stuff that we're going to go over is kind of
bullshit.
Yeah. I wish I put that. I have that particular sound effect, not programmed into here, but I have the infamous InfoWars turning the frogs gay sound. So that would have been the perfect sound effect for it.
Freaking
Frogs gay. And we'll get into the whole mixer aspect of things in a little bit. But what we'll be going is kind of a repeat for some of you, but some of what we'll be bringing up again is some stuff that I want to always go over for the past 2 months with our co-host. Would we be kind of using our soundboard? Yes, and I should have written down some of the.
You didn't write down.
No, I didn't. Just the first two. I just
pause.
know. Nope, not pause. I just knew. Should I say? Yeah, I should have written down, but.
How dare you?
Yeah, I forgot.
How dare you?
So, but.
Disappointed!
Oh, that was number 3. So, yes, we'll be kind of playing around with it, but to kind of...
Do you have lemon grab unacceptable?
What, unacceptable?
Yeah, lemon grab.
That's unacceptable?
Have you seen, what is it, Adventure Time? There's a little character on there named Lemon Grab, and he... everything is unacceptable. I can't do it. He doesn't really
wait. Let's see. It's it would be under you. No,
it's not under me.
No, it's I have a mean soundboard that I could rip sounds from and convert them to put on the soundboard. And
it has the record scratch.
Yeah, that I think that's number 4.
Say what?
No, wait. That's a squeal. That's a record scratch.
Yeah, you gotta.
But it to kind of
you
go.
should have made a little cheat sheet.
I have to write it down next time.
Yeah.
One of the ones that I want to add to it is this one right here.
Delete.
It's pretty much. Yeah, like I said, we'll get into the full details of what we can do with the soundboard, but I want to go through the show notes a little bit in the order that we... Yeah, even though we have show ADD as it is, folks. But, like I said, we have Big Candy in the studio. Got done with that. Yeah, folks, I am forgetful. I'm getting old. So sue me. Don't. I don't have any money. Can we sue you guys for money? I don't know. But let's catch up with the holiday, with the holidays. I know you don't really celebrate the holidays. How was your holidays? Just boring? Hey, what? Yeah.
I worked.
You worked. Could you say it was?
Disappointed!
It will probably never get old because we could change the sounds on it.
Yeah, right? There's a hum.
Hum? Hum on yours? I don't hear it on mine. But I might have to bump yours up a little bit.
Bumpity bump?
Just to
wait, that's too loud. I can hear myself breathing. Turn it down. Turn it down. Yeah.
Well, maybe I could turn down your volume a little bit.
There we go.
And turn this up. This is just the gain.
But I don't want them to hear me breathing. Otherwise,
it's bad enough they hear me going. So
now it just turned up. Oh, you know what? It's probably something they're doing out there.
Yeah.
I bet like a blender or something.
Probably.
That's what it is.
But
because we're at a
for us at the show, we got the new mixer, shit ton of movies on Vudu, just general stuff that I've been wanting to pick up. Some stuff for me, some stuff for the show. Mainly I hear the hum.
Oh, you hear it now?
Not so much me, but it's ambient.
Yeah.
It's not the mixer. It's not the microphones. It's
aliens.
It's aliens.
Or there's another one you need.
Aliens. I don't have that. I don't have aliens.
You don't have aliens?
I don't have it. I'll find it.
Giorgio Tsoukalos?
I don't have that. I'll search for Coast to Coast, something like that.
There you go.
But if not, I'll use the Halo type of thing. But
you know what you need? You need the killing streak ones.
What, the killing streak? Like
it's like kill Tokyo.
Joe, I guess I can find that. One of the things I have on it is tactical nuke and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Triple
But
kill.
it's just one of those things that one of the things I did was it leads into kind of our next topic. I wish he was here to kind of talk about it, but he's not here. We did invite him to the show to come in and listen in, but he's not here. One of the things I got over the holidays was, as much as we just kind of walked away from it, I got a month of Coast to Coast.
I got a month of illness.
Oh. But it's about almost the same. A lot of it's boring still.
Yeah.
But because I was kind of walking to work and back, I wanted something to at least listen to.
It can't
at
be
night.
the same as it used to.
No, it's not. It's nowhere near the crack it was like 10 years ago.
So good. Like, that was some of the best stuff.
Like back in 2007, 2008, it literally was. It was crack.
Like you listen to it and you just like would be fiending for more. It was like, oh my god.
But put the mic a little bit closer to you. It's like
what?
The mic a little bit closer to you. No, your mouth, you little knucklehead. There you go.
All right.
But one of the episodes that they were talking about was.
Sorry, I knew what you meant. Couldn't resist.
Too bad we don't have our usual old co-host that we had. She'd be laughing her ass. She'd be probably on the floor. She'd be doing a Larry and be on the floor just laughing her ass up, and we'd be laughing at her. But one of the things that they were talking about on the show was like how there are aspects of sports fixing.
Uh-huh.
And since he's a big sports fan, I figured I'd get him hooked on Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
And wean him on some of the older stuff I have, like Nels Hull and Al Bielek. But no such luck. But I'm hoping that I could get him interested in like Nels Hull. The saga of Nels Hull and Al Bielek.
Which one do you like better, part 1 or part 2?
Part 2, because it has the whole aspect of the tumor and the tumor opening up with a seal with human eyes and it curing his cancer and
ice that burns
and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, that was great.
But
and which one is it? There's one after that too, isn't it?
Is
that the one with the nickel from the future?
Yeah, the alternate reality nickel or dime, whatever the frig it was.
Dime. You're right.
It was just because I said I want something different other than the usual podcasts and stuff to listen to. And not to mention, when I got it, it gives you access from up to 5 years back. And I went through the whole aspect of 2019 and some of the stuff that one of which was the missing 411 stuff.
Which is great.
Which is awesome. and some of the other stuff was Bigfoot stuff. So I could be better prepared if we go to the third annual Bigfoot Con later this year, and if we have some of the folks that do Bigfoot stuff on the show, that I could have better questions. And
matter of fact, tomorrow morning, guess what I'm doing?
What? You're squatching?
I'm squatching.
Squatching?
8 o'clock in the morning, I'm meeting a fella in Inwood, and we're going to, I forget what he said, but it's a guy that I work with, and he wants to take me squatching tomorrow morning.
So you're going to try it? At least once?
Yeah, at least. You got to try it at least once, right?
Right.
Sleepy Creek?
It doesn't ring a bell for me, but...
Something like that. Anyway, but yeah, we're going to go back, and apparently he's going to show me some cool stuff. He wants to be on the show eventually, so
that's a good idea. I'll be more than happy to have him on the show.
For
and,
sure.
Again, I still want to try... I've been mentioning a couple of times in regards to having what I call the coast-to-coast trifecta this year, which is some sort of cryptid, some sort of paranormal, and some sort of UFO. Fill out the, I put out feelers that I want to fill out my coast-to-coast trifecta punch card. So there's that. And one of the things I wanted to bring up with Big Candy, because he's kind of familiar with some of our, even though he's from Winchester area, he kind of knows a little bit what's going on with the local area, and he hates Martinsburg as much as I do sometimes. Some of you might remember we've been kind of in the past hinting at the fact that we are considered eyesores here in Martinsburg. That's because the downtown, I wouldn't say the city, I should say the city council as a whole, even though we have one particular bully on the city council, the rest of the city council, and from what I hear, not just this one council person, but the city council as a whole, considers the downtown area and those that live in the downtown area as eyesores. And it stems from the 7-Eleven that is in the downtown area, which is turned into a hangout with those who deal drugs, another illegal activity, and they want it closed down. But since it's illegal, in essence, illegal business, they can't really do anything. Right. And one of the council people in the local article mentioned that the downtown areas and not those who live in it are eyesores. I'm like, why do you're a city council person, you shouldn't be, delegating your, to your delegates in your district as a eyesore. But these are the folks from one of the people that I know who kind of works as a bartender at a lot of the big events that happens in downtown. And they said pretty much they're all stuck up, socialistic, bigots and everything else. They hate everybody. There's not making six figures or more a year. So they pretty much insult everybody. And that person was telling me, it's like, yeah, one of the people that you're insulting is giving you drinks right now. Of course. And they were pretty much saying, yeah, I wanted to, if I didn't really need the job and the tips, I would have just laced it into them. And this is the type of person that who is, I know their family, and they give less fucks than I do. I'm going to use that E this week. Yeah. They will tell you flat out. They kind of shoot from the hip. If they don't like you, they will tell you they don't like you. Or if you accidentally cross the line, they will be the first. Like, if they know you, they'll give you a warning. That's it. That's it.
You get
one warning.
You get one.
It's going to be a physical warning or a verbal warning. You better know. Depending on how well they like you, it's going to be one or the other. So, let me put it like this. It is a female, and I know her brother. And let me put it like this. If something happened to her, you'd be lucky that her brother got to you before she did. Right. With her family, the police would be, or I should say the authorities would be lucky to find your body part spread all over 6 states. So, and that's if she gets it, the family gets to the person before she does. Right. But, which I think should be the right way.
Right.
And the way she gives me a look is almost as scary as what Crystal gives me, the missus. Let me put it like this. Her, with the missus, I think with her it's the flip where she's all cute and cuddly and all of a sudden it's, I'm going to kill you now.
She takes medication to be cute and cuddly. Let's put it that way.
But
if she doesn't take her medicine,
I've seen that look firsthand. It's like there is no bribe. There is no bribe. For others, there might be a bribe. There is no bribe, but still.
But back to your downtown thing. Yeah, it wasn't even just the whole of Martinsburg. What I don't understand is they've done a lot to renovate and revitalize the surrounding area, like including where we're at right now. But they've done nothing to renovate and revitalize the areas that are quote unquote eyesores. And in fact, they've taken away more than they've given.
And it's getting worse downtown because they're, I think, adding new stoplight posts, and the sidewalks are all torn up. Right. Instead of fixing them with concrete, guess what they fixed them with?
Lord only knows. Asphalt?
Yeah.
Yeah, figures.
And this is the city workers that are doing this.
Yeah.
And they're and the best thing that they did to kind of draw people downtown, which is not really working, is put up signs. Signs saying the historic downtown Martinsburg is this way.
Yeah.
Welcome to downtown Martinsburg.
You get there and you're like, where? What part of downtown is historic and inviting? And it's the crackhead over there.
They don't want to do. It's like, you panhandle, you could get $1,000 fine. Really? Who's that going to? Yeah. It's not going to deter.
Who's that helping?
It's not going to deter the homeless person trying to get $1 off you, or that drunk in front of one of the few, the VFW that wants to get $1 off you so you can go back in and get another beer.
Yeah, right.
But he's going to he or her will kick your ass if you don't give him $1.
Yeah.
And it's stupid, and yet you have, like I said, there's a councilwoman who's running for mayor who has bullied this show and a church group in the past for stupid crap because she doesn't know anything and she thinks she's higher than now and that everybody in the downtown area is literally beneath her.
Right.
And people know this. But they're going to...
You showed that picture on Facebook and oh my God, she looks like a ghoul.
My ex kissing a goat looks better than that.
Those teeth. I was like, good Lord.
Margaret Thatcher looks better than her on a good day. To kind of move along to something more chipper, as stated, we got a new mixer over the holidays. And some of you out there might have seen our video on YouTube in regards to the trouble we had getting the mixer. Basically, for those of you who don't remember, if I told it on the show in months past or seen the video, pretty much I had the mix that we have is a Zoom LiveTrack L8. It's a $400 mixer, and it's pretty much a Swiss Army knife of mixers, so to speak. Right. It's a better mixer than what we have. It does more, and I got it through Amazon. This product is like maybe it came out in November, so it's like 4 months old. So I decided, since I had the money to get it overnight. I was off that Friday, or that Monday, that Tuesday and Wednesday. I figured get it on Tuesday before. Granted, it was the day before Christmas. Get it that day, bring it in the house, open it up, hopefully read the manual or read something on it, and it didn't show up. Like I said, overnight, 24 hours. Got the longer cords, got the extra mic stand, next day, but the mixer didn't show up. I contacted Amazon and said, thinking because the mixer was kind of popular that it was on back order.
Right.
And they told me, no, it's not on back order. It's at the distribution center in Baltimore.
Oh, that's right.
And they said, okay, why is it still in the distribution center in Baltimore? It should be in my hands today.
Right.
Well, at this point, it was like 5 p.m. And I was like, well, the mail and everything, my deliveries came today already. Mm-hmm. It should be in my hands now. Oh, you still have about 3 hours before I said that I'm in the delivery business. Yeah. I work for a major, delivery chain. Right. It would be in my hands by now. Oh, it's coming in Baltimore. Baltimore's only about an hour and 6 minutes away from you.
I know that.
But you don't understand. That doesn't change the fact that it's not here, and that's not how the delivery aspect works.
No,
and
not at all.
She said, well, give it about another hour and change. Maybe it'll be, I'm like, I'll wait. I'm like, all right, give her another hour. They call back. I said, guess what? It's still not here yet. Oh, that's because it's still in the plant. Exactly. I'm supposed to have it today. Well, it's an hour and 6 minutes away. No, that's not how it works. I have people that work for major companies that do overnight stuff. Right. I work for one of those companies that does overnight stuff. That's not how it works. If it's still sitting in the plant, it's not in the company's hands to give it to me. Right. It's not how it works. And sure enough, I had to, in essence, work the next day. And when I got home that night, it was already like 10:30. I don't see it in front of my... How I live behind a house down an alleyway. And when I got to the house, we share the same address, basically. Right. And when I got to my neighbor, I didn't see any package. I already told him I was getting packages. Mm-hmm. And if anything, just leave it out. And I didn't see any package. I'm like, oh shit! Don't tell me that somebody porch pirated it. And
it was bad this year.
And the thing is, I was looked around, had the flashlight on my phone, looking around, make sure, just in case delivery company put it in the back. I looked at my place, nothing. I went around my place like 3 times, went around his place 3 times, and I heard him kind of walking around in his house. I knocked on his door and said, listen, did a package come today for me? And him being, kind of the trooper and a great, nice guy, special shout out to him. He said, yeah, I just brought it in just in case. I was going to give it to you tomorrow morning. I went, oh, thank God. You saved a whole mess of stress in my end. He handed me the package. Sure enough, it was there. The downside for it, this thing came with no paperwork. It came with a quick start guide, and that's it. Really? And no information. The actual the manual is a digital manual that you have to dig for on the Zoom website to get, and it's 118, in essence, 118 pages. And
you're just supposed to know, motherfucker.
Right, you're supposed to know how to hook it up. It doesn't tell you that you need drivers for the son of a bitch. Right. And for those of you who don't have a Windows computer, when you plug in a USB or in this case, a mixer, you'll get like a dun dun dun, like congratulations. But if you unplug something, you get kind of like the oh crap type time, like dun dun dun, like it's like something happened. And when I plugged it in, I got the congratulations time. Then about 2 seconds later, I got it's been unplugged. I went, what the? I was pissed. Then I went on the website, dug even deeper for the stinking drivers because it was all hidden. Right. Installed those drivers. Now everything works beautifully. Yeah. And I'm like,
I think you had an easier time after all that setup than you did your last one.
I think with the last one it was quicker because I kind of suspected it needed drivers, but when I plugged this in, it kind of said setting up. or setting up the mixer, everything. So I thought the drivers were like the microphone we started with, that the drivers were built pre-installed, and that if you plugged it in, they would install it on the computer.
Which would make sense.
But I had to dig for everything. It was just like, but other than that, the learning curve is because we had a mixer prior. The learning curve is there, but it's kind of small.
Right.
As you folks at home heard, that it does have a programmable soundboard to it that we could add sounds to. It operates as a mixer and as a standalone recorder, which is something we're trying to use when we go to Fourth State. That way we can have the computer at our side. It has 6 ports, which will help us with extra people when we do stuff with Don, which we'll be doing this weekend. He wants us to help out with an interview of that. So we might be having to borrow stands and mics from the School of Rock, but as long as we return those stands and mics, they're cool, we're cool, and special thanks to them for letting us record there. So what do you think of I know this was kind of a challenge. Even though we kind of needed it, this was a challenge brought to by you to kind of upgrade this year, even though it's been kind of like 4 years.
Like I told you earlier before the show, I love the fact that you're progressing as a show and you're getting all this. It just sucks that now you're going to end up having to work.
That folks, that's news when depending on when certain things drop and how they drop, we'll keep you guys and gals in the loop in regards to that.
Right.
But to also kind of move along a little bit, we're going to do 2 things in once, 2 topics in once. One is a year in a review with you and a decade. We can't really do a decade, but if you want to do kind of like 2009 to 2019, it allows us to cover both the Electric Eye and this show at the same time.
True.
Kind of an aspect of how do you think things went last year? We had one hell of a great year. We had like over 6 or 8 shows.
Oh my God, really?
We hit over 100, and like a crap ton hit over 60.
As I always say, it's just a goddamn shame that like we haven't caught on like I think you should have caught on by now. It's one of those things where like I listen to a lot of podcasts, and like not to toot our own horn, but I think we put together.
You gotta.
Huh?
Basically, it was almost like you were non-existent on this.
Oh, really?
Right.
I could hear me.
I could hear you too, but it's like not coming up on here.
Well, you know what?
Listen here, you bearded bastard. I know. Look who's talking, right?
What I was saying was, like I always say, like it's a damn shame that we're not more popular, I guess, than what we are, because. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts and I see, people that are less talented and shows that are not as good, that are kind of like
they're going leaps and bounds.
Well, yeah, and they're really just like one subject, one-sided, not very creative. They don't cover the wide array of subjects that you do. That are, like you said, growing leaps and bounds, and we're kind of like we're stagnant, almost kind of.
I think that's the vicious cycle of
it really is.
What we do is that the shows a lot of shows gotta have the cycle so they can remain fresh, but the listeners don't. It's got the vicious cycle from the listeners' aspect as well, is that they want the variety of content, but they don't want the variety of content.
But,
meaning they want the kind of.
It's funny on the flip side of that. On the flip, anybody that I've told about the show, they're like, "Oh, you do a podcast?" Yeah. I'm co-host. The main host. He does the bulk of the shows. I'm just there, color guy. And they're like, "Oh, okay. Well, let me check it out." They'll listen. Like I had a guy tell me the other day, because he does like gaming conventions, and
right.
he wants to be on the show. And he told me he listened to like 4 shows. He likes the show. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Like, you can keep listening. Yeah, I'm going to subscribe. I'm going to keep listening to the show. Cool. So, anybody that listens to it likes it, but it's just getting it in the hands of the people that
Right.
that should be listening to it. It's very hard now. It's kind of crazy because, like, okay, as far as, let's go back to the Electric Eye. We virtually had no one listening to those shows. And there we were at the dawn of podcasting for real.
You had social media, but you didn't really have social media. It was at the dawn of social media, and the account we had with Libsyn was kind of very tight.
Yeah.
Very.
I mean, there were other podcasters.
Right.
There's like hundreds, thousands of other podcasters, but it wasn't like it is now. Like now, there's so many podcasts. You get lost in the fray. There's no wonder that not enough people are listening to us. The only people that are getting the big numbers are people that are already popular, riding on that fame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as far as like, I don't expect us to blow it out of the water and be like the next big thing, because we can't even compete with like local The Hub.
They have more money than we do.
They have a lot more money than we do. They have funding. I'm sure they get paid somehow.
They have something called a car.
What? A
car?
Car?
So,
but like, for us to start back then, though, you're talking about like Adam Carolla was just getting popular when we were still doing our show.
Kevin Smith was
still just getting popular with his podcast when we were doing our show. So we're OG as fuck, yo.
I think the thing is with...
but at the same time, like, it's just, like I said, I think we're just getting lost in the wash with everyone else.
When you compare us to the Electric Eye, it's like apples to oranges. We knew what we were doing, but we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah, we kind of just
threw it together. We kind of had a general idea. Now it's more with the aspect of better social media like Facebook and Twitter's evolved over the year.
Yeah.
We have Podbean now, instead of having only limited to maybe 10 gigs a month. Now we have unlimited, and it's only $5 more. And we're not, even if you went back to Libsyn, even at $10, it's still very restrictive.
Yeah.
Whereas Podbean's like, it's $10 for unlimited. Therefore, if it blows up, you have if a show blows up, you have that aspect of unlimited instead of you're only limited to 20 gigs a month download. And it's like we have the room to grow.
Yeah.
And to kind of do more instead of...
And we're not recording to 30 minutes of GarageBand.
Even Garage... From
but
what
I like
hear,
that program.
GarageBand, in essence, over the years, from what, like, I think it's Josh, has said that...
Is that what he uses?
Yeah, it's now up to 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
So, obviously, those at Apple have realized, no, you can do 3... podcasting is actually a thing, and you limit... But then again, granted... GarageBand is free. Audacity is free.
Yeah.
We're now using kind of show notes, where everything we did back then was kind of like show notes. What's show notes?
But boy, was it fun.
Yeah.
We used to drink during the podcast. Now we're drinking tea.
But yeah, I think if we had a better, nothing against Daily Grind, but if we were like my place, we'd probably have beers in hand. And,
we need to record in a bar sometime.
if we were allowed to do that. One thing.
What about about the School of Rock? Are we allowed to record there?
I would have to speak to the guy there. I know if we had like a beer or two there, he probably wouldn't give a crap. Right. But as long as we didn't kind of tear up.
I'm not worried about that. I'm just wondering if we can record there, because it's kind of. I wonder if it's down that route. You know what I'm saying? The School of Rock is like you're the audio aspect of like that in a way. I don't know. It's roundabout.
Roundabout there. It's close to me.
Yeah.
But
maybe you could teach a class.
Can't teach a class or something
You
like that.
You could teach a class on podcasting.
Who knows? I would have to speak to the guy. I think his name is Will. I have to speak to him.
I gotta go to one of those shows. Is there one coming up?
There should be. They're doing something. Like I said, Don said it's open to anybody. Tomorrow's interview is open to anybody. I think I'm setting up at noon, but everything starts at 1.
When is tomorrow?
Yeah, but I know it's short notice. But you're allowed to show up if you want to. If you got nothing better to do or something like that. It's only for about an hour.
Who's it with?
I forgot. I think it's that's something I wanted to bring up too. That's going to be in a second, but I'm going to kind of have to pause for a second. Due to the fact that nature is hollering a little bit, and I want to get a refill on a drink. So, so we're gonna. You guys and gals are not going to really notice, but there is going to be a pause right. We're back, folks. I know you didn't miss us at all. And while we were away, Big Candy just issued me a challenge for 2020. Right. See if we could do it this year, and that is with the new mix. Kind of, again, because we have show ADD and at this motherfucker, he kind of issued me a challenge to see if we could record a band demo with the new mixer, which I'm sure we could do. And one of the things I almost forgot to go over is, like, even though I brought up the aspect of we have a kind of a soundboard on this mixer, and which you've been hearing all shows that I have on my phone. It's made by Meme Droid. I think it's what it's called. The company that did it. What they make is they have a meme generator app and they have a meme sound app. The meme generator is just for like pictures that you see on Facebook, YouTube. It allows you to kind of do what we do with regular photos and the standard SpongeBob memes and the whole aspect that you again see on Facebook and Twitter and so forth and so on. They also put out a soundboard generator, and they have kind of like all the things like the aspect of Catch Me Outside and the whole aspect of
how dare you.
I also wish Zombie Bunny was here, because I would have her little soundbite attached to that. I'm wearing a bikini. I'm a gamer. I'm wearing a bikini. I'm wearing a bikini. Oh, and
that's a classic.
That's a classic. And that was from our first show. And I have sound bites from you, too.
That's funny.
Which I could program in here, too. And this is for those who are Slacker and the Man fans. Guess what? We got one up on you. Our soundboard actually could use the program Sound Drops. Take that.
Take that.
Take that. I have quite a few favorites from the meme soundboard. One of it is, the classic "Catch Me Outside" and the Leroy Jenkins, and which is a classic. And they have one of the things. I know you have the whole aspect of. I don't want to call them out or anything like that. I have the whole aspect of do it. There's some that the whole aspect of, I know you don't, it's been used to death, but it's the whole app type thing. I don't want to, but it has a lot of the standards, and also one of the things I want to put in here, I just got to convert it for the soundboard to listen to, is the whole Yoshi thing. But that way, when we have like a dead air, it's just press that. But it has standards that we could alternate. Besides, I could also search the interwebs, if you will, for show clips, and when I reference Phil DeFranco and let's just jump into it. Let's see, where is it? I have it here. Let's just jump into it. Stuff like that I could program into there, but I don't know if I could do it on the fly.
Right.
I just have to have the stuff.
I'm a cheek meat.
But it's something that we can do, and one of the things it opens up a wide variety of stuff that we can use for our show. And one of the things that even though we've been kind of doing a decade in review, because we started out with the Electric Guide, kind of stumbling into things like we had that, when I went to a silent auction, we got our first kind of person to do promos and so forth and so on. Yeah. Now, in the past few years, we had Spike, rest in peace, helping us out. I won't say that was a luck into, but it still, it helped us, and he's been kind of the voice of our show, even past his passing.
Although, going forward with our future plans, we will have to retire that.
If we do, for at least for the time being.
Yeah, for the time.
Some of the stuff like
who's got a good voice that we should get to do it?
Who?
Earl.
Earl?
You think he'd do it? You think he could do it?
I'm sure I could slide him a couple bucks too.
He's got a good voice.
Yeah, something like now for our Skype call or something like that. Well, I'll have to speak to him about that. And one of the things that we've kind of imported from the Electric Guy is Igor. He's been our kind of our cartoonish icon that we've been using, and he's been the standard of our show for even in this iteration of podcasting. He's been our kind of our social media voice, but now kind of taking his place in a way and helping him out is Tiny Toy Batman.
Tiny Toy Batman.
For those of you on our social media, especially Facebook and Instagram, you all have been seeing Tiny Toy Batman. Where he was found, he was basically a lost toy. I think I found him at the laundromat, completely abandoned, and just lying there. I know they lost Batman. It's kind of funny, ain't it? But he's been helping us out, saying, just being there, being the geeky little iteration, and being the tiny toy Batman that he is, just arms raised in the air, just being excited. He's been helping us with some of our photos and doing things that, Igor can't really do, and just be there in real life. And when we're at Force State, he'll probably be sitting on the desk someplace, and hopefully he's not stolen and go on further Batman adventures, which could be kind of funny. What do you think of the idea of kind of Tiny Toy Batman?
I like Tiny Toy Batman.
Tiny Toy Batman.
I think he'd be a great mascot for two fat guys and a hooker.
Two fat guys and a hooker. Or I got to pull. That's a
different story.
It's a different story. I have to add two fat guys and a hooker to the list.
It's on the board.
I don't think iTunes would accept a podcast name called Two Fat Guys and a Hooker, or Two Fat Guys and a Prostitute. Either one rolls off the tongue.
Now, I think they wouldn't accept Two Fat Guys and a Prostitute, but Two Fat Guys and a Hooker could be somebody's name. There you go.
Or Two Fat Guys and a Fooker.
And what's a Fooker? That's what you pee with. I don't know. But anyway.
But either way, let's kind of also move on. One thing I wanted to talk about is celebrity stupidity that kind of happened over the past few months. Yeah. I see you like, this is going to be cringe, and it is. Yeah. It's the whole aspect, I'm sure you heard that. It's the aspect of what in regards to what Gwyneth Paltrow did a couple of months ago, or put out for sale. And that is the vag-smelling candle. The thing is, everybody was shocked over this shit, and I'm just sitting there like, wait a minute, don't you all fuckers realize that there is pussy-scented incense on the market? And you could, easily go down to Spencer's and find this shit? And everybody's like, oh, just because it's Gwyneth Paltrow? I'm like, you guys and gals realize this pussy-scented freaking incense on the market. And 2 months prior to that, 3 months prior to that, a Twitch streamer was selling her bath water. Oh. And people were buying that shit up.
Oh my God. What's her name?
I don't know, but
it's like going to my tongue.
But
she's the one that makes the face all the time, the face. But the retarded face.
But I hope it's number 4.
You can't say retarded. That one.
I don't think it's her, but it's just.
No. But yeah, she's the one that and then people, oh God.
And it's like 3 months after that, Gwyneth Paltrow. Oh, here I have a candle that smells like my vagina. Really?
Now, see.
and people were buying it.
I'm gonna sell my bathwater.
Nobody wants your bathwater.
Whatever. Bits of turd floating around.
You're not a gamer. You're not a female
I
gamer.
am
Where
a celebrity, sir. In very, very
in
small,
whose dreams?
very
sir?
small circles, I'm a celebrity. And
Your wife does not count, and your son.
well, you know what? That's what you think. Folks, I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. My bathwater is for sale.
And for some of you out there, it's going to be
$100 an ounce.
all profits go towards the show to keep the lights on.
That's right.
But no, it's when I heard it, it's like, no, really?
People,
You-
are weird.
pe-
You know, I used to think.
But
it
then
was
again,
bad.
people, when you hear shit like that, and it's like, wait a minute, y'all realize in Japan they sell used panties?
Well, they do that here.
Yeah, they do it in strip clubs here.
Well, they do it online. There's like the other day, I watch a lot of TikTok, probably too much TikTok, and there was a post by a girl that said you can sell. Basically, she was saying you can sell your used underwear and socks on these websites, and she listed them down the side of the screen. I had no idea that was still a thing because I remember on eBay a long time ago, probably 10 years plus ago, that you could sell used socks and underwear, gently used, and girls were making a ton of money because there's guys out there that buy, for whatever reason, used socks and underwear. And she listed all the sites, and she listed at least 10 sites that apparently make a lot of money selling used underwear.
Now, for some of you sick bastards that like to buy sex dolls, you can now smell like the real thing.
Yeah. Hey, so also I've been selling my underwear in addition to my bathwater.
All profits go to the Long Coat Mafia podcast. Details at
Skid marks sold separately. Sorry, Ohio.
that's extra money if you want. But I mean, and me and a guy at work were kind of talking about, speaking of something like that. It's like you realize how much money RealDolls.com or some of these sites would make if they got licensed to do
celebrity,
not just celebrities, but something from Avatar or something anime or cartoon the Chick Bunny from Space Jam and stuff like that. How much money did you get? People hand over fist, or like Jesse from Teen Rock. You know how many people would buy that?
No,
If they got
an embarrassing amount of people would buy that.
It'd be it would be embarrassing.
Their first day of orders would be oh wow.
This is on back order for 6 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and forget Japan. Here in the States too.
I don't get it.
You'd have people. It's like, hell, Barry, we wanted to license your body so we could sell a real doll of it. People would buy it.
I looked at the prices one time on that site. Holy shit! Just for the weird, and I can't get past these because they look like kids, but the weird miniature versions.
Yeah, like the 3'2" and all that.
Ooh, that's creepy to me. But those are even $5,000.
You could find some for $500, $600.
This guy right here. But
I get lonely and I I'm an introvert. I got dig.
The place where I go, you can get them for pennies.
Hey, you're talking to someone who runs a podcast called The Long Coat Mafia and has dealings with Uncle Tony. Of course, we're gonna get stuff for pennies on the freaking dollar.
When I was curiously looking at these things, it was $5,000 for just a small one. The big ones were $9,000, $10,000.
Right.
That's
the ones that don't have AI in it and shit like that. I'm like, really?
I'm just
And there are people that collect these things too.
I said, there's people that fuck dogs, right? For $10,000, you could surely impress somebody. If you got that kind of money to drop on a plastic thing to stick your wiener in, just flash a little cash at the bar, man.
And I remember one story that
maybe you don't want that though.
Drew Carey has 2. or had at least 2. But he said the guy that was telling folks about it, he said, well, they're just for like joke purposes, shits and giggles. Like he wants to throw one, like Drew Carey wants to toss one off a building to see what people will do because it's so lifelike, and have another one just float in the pool.
I get it. That's a lot. That's a lot.
But he's got
he's got sex problems anyway,
and not to mention he's got the money for it anyway too.
Yeah,
but
so it's nothing to him. I get that, but yeah.
And as I told my
that's
buddy,
not what they're made for, though, Drew.
Right, but I can see some people that it could also be a security thing. Yeah. If you have a couple of grand to, have somebody at least their back facing a window.
Yeah.
That all you have to do is have somebody in, like a neighbor or a close friend, come in, change the position, and bring in the mail.
That's a lot of
but still,
for that.
How awkward it is to try to tell it.
For the same amount of money, you could install like freaking like high tech. Deterrent.
It's like, how awkward would it be to explain to your friends? Could
you
just come over and change the channel on the TV and the sex doll?
There's a.
You have to call her Sally.
I want you.
She prefers Sally. And
I don't know. They're just freaking.
But and also, we live in a haunted area as well. It's like, imagine coming home, all of a sudden it's just, you swear to God, it was you sat it on the couch to watch TV. And to kind of be that feature, is like somebody's watching TV, all of a sudden you walk home and it's just standing there looking at you. I'm like, no.
No. How come somebody hasn't made a sex doll horror movie yet?
Oh,
trademark.
Matt Burns. Mark Byrne.
Let's get
John Johnson. Get on this shit, will you?
Let's get together. I got some ideas.
Yeah, we got some ideas. And I know where you can get some for cheap. Okay. To kind of.
God damn it. Hey, Sally fell off the back of a truck.
It depends on what size you need and what truck you wanted. You wanted to fall off. We'll have to talk to Uncle Tony. Uncle Tony. But just keep it away from some of the horror, the haunted places. Just don't go give it to like C.J. Ferguson or somebody like Mo Sargent. It'll get haunted real quick.
I love his show, but he's such a faker. Like his shit, like he literally does the thing like you do to a to a 5-year-old. Like, oh, the candle's lit. Turn around. Oh my God, it went out.
I was watching CJ Farson, his latest video last night.
Has he gotten weird ever since he bought that barn?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I was watching the late. It's like it's supposed to be his last incident. It was the first one I watched in like months. Yeah, and it's like, how hard is it for in someplace dark, you be inside someplace that pretty much has just a metal roof that you could have somebody just get on a ladder and just listen to you because you're shouting half the time. At certain points, hit the tin roof with the wood and have somebody else. It's dark anyway. All they have to do is hide in the bushes, and you're just looking through a small little doorway. They flip over something, run. By the time you get there with your camera, you're hidden. Yeah. It's like, how many of these folks? I'm not saying some of the Omar Gosh or Mo Sargi don't go to an actual haunted place, they do. But how easy? It's pretty easy. What they do?
And the whole Tom thing. Dumb. And like,
I'm just saying, how hard is it with some of these folks that it's having a friend, having somebody else. Again, it's dark most of the time anyway. To have a friend, have a cohort of some sort, someone off in the distance or in another room knocking, or like there was Omar Gosh like a year or so ago that he was in his house with his now ex-wife. Yeah. And they were walking around, and when he went to one room, which had a open balcony door, you saw somebody kind of near the wall, but the door was already open. Right. How hard is it to have, in essence, I'm not saying he uses his kids, but to have a kid or have somebody he knows go in, put a sheet over, in essence, a sheet then when he goes back and like, wait a minute, I heard a noise back, and they go back, they're outside the door, hidden, and all of a sudden, when he posts up the video, well, I didn't notice it, and yet he gets a crap ton of fans saying, "Oh, there was somebody in the corner or by the wall, with or it looks like there was somebody behind the curtain or something like that."
Right.
It's
some of the ones that not the ghost ones, but the ones that I find more fascinating are the ones where they encounter other people, like real people, like when they're in like a place, like I don't know, like an old hospital or something, and they hear voices, and it's actual people that have showed up. Like, did you see the one where they were running from people and they couldn't figure out what was going on? They thought it was like a drug cartel, but it was just a bunch of people playing paintball.
No.
That was crazy. Or airsoft or something like that. And like, they thought they had real guns and shit, and like it was weird. There was that one, and the one that got me, I don't know if it was real or if it was set up, but it was actually a good episode. CJ Faison, where he went camping by himself in this forest, and at some point a guy with a flashlight walked by, and he was hiding behind a tree. And so he hid the entire time the guy walked by, and then later he's like sleeping in his tent, and the guy comes up, and he had his thing still like recording while he was sleeping, and the guy shines his light in the thing. It was pretty good.
It's like I said, sometimes it could be a setup, sometimes it's not.
I don't know if that was a setup or not, but that was a good episode.
But to kind of move things along, to kind of do one topic before the other, in regards to listing, how I have it listed.
Show ADD.
Show ADD. WWE is thinking of selling their pay-per-view rights. I guess outside to have more of a widespread audience instead of just their app, $10 app. The article I read didn't specify whether it's Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, or something like that.
It's probably Fight TV.
Or what have you. Again, it didn't say.
Right. Does that mean that the $10 app won't carry the pay-per-views anymore?
The article that I read didn't specify. Oh, okay. It just said, rumors are that Vince McMahon is selling pay-per-view rights.
Well, then I heard that Vince McMahon's also selling his company to Amazon.
Rumor. I think rumors like that happen almost weekly, daily, or something like that. But I don't see it actually happening. But I know a couple of months ago there was the rumors of issues with the WWE and Saudi Arabia in regards to the aspect of the WWE didn't get their money from Saudi Arabia or something like that.
They just had that Super Showdown on.
Yeah, it was, which was a lot of folks were like, that shit. It was shit.
It was shit.
And
I watched like maybe 10 minutes of the first, and then I just watched the highlights, and it was dumb.
It was. It literally was. I only caught about a
Bray Wyatt match.
I caught
3 minutes and like 40 some seconds, and it was like Goldberg spearing him like 3 or 4 times, then a half-assed jackhammer, and that was it.
Yeah, and he won. That's the thing. It's like one of those days that I was pretty much scaled out from work, and it's like I still saw the second half hour of it. Went to work, came got scaled out, came home, watched the last half hour.
Yeah.
And it was just like boring. It was. Let me put it like this: it was nice to see some of the female wrestlers wrestle in Saudi Arabia, even though according to their stipulations, with being in a Muslim country, a Muslim-dominated country, with their customs that they're there, to see how women wrestling. But unlike when you see, let's say, Flair's daughter and like Brie, some of the female wrestlers, they can't be as revealing there as they are here in the States. Yeah. But it's nice to see that they're kind of trying to break ground in this type of country. And it's kind of awkward kind of seeing them not being as flamboyant as they are here in the States.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Like when Lana came out with
it's just like
Lashley, and she was like had that gold like thing from head to toe. It was just like she was trying to be flashy but respectful at the same time.
Right. It's like
it just turned out it just was weird looking. Well, I don't know.
I think, again, it's one of those aspects of us being here in America, but it's kind of odd to see when you see someone like, I won't say Undertaker, but some of the male wrestlers come out, they have like the lighted coat and they just drop it, and you know, they're like bare chested. I'm not saying the women. They probably. No. I'm sure if I'm not saying that they should, but I'm sure the ratings will go through the stinking roof if one of the female wrestlers came out topless. But still,
Alexa
but even though they can't do it, but I'm sure you know what I mean. Being here in the States, kind of when you see Alexa or Brie or you know some the other female wrestlers come out, I won't say that they're revealing, but they're usually in a sports bra and you know somewhat respectful, but they can't really do that in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. But I guess Saudi Arabia wants to be more progressive and in some ways, you know, saying
you know the day they stop like stoning people to death for fucking being gay, I guess then you know maybe it'll take a step forward into the modern era and stop making women cover themselves from head to toe.
Okay, I'm going to skip that topic.
I don't watch it.
I want to skip that. One of the things because I want to know more about it because the topic I had was like Bob Iger now has left Disney. I want to know more about it, how it's going to affect some of their properties and all that.
Probably a good thing.
I've heard mixed, but I don't know. I want to skip that. But before we get into one topic, I want to bring up something else. It's a question
for something completely different.
It is. When we were kind of having
hey, you need that one on there.
What? Now for something completely.
Now for something completely different.
One of the movies I watched, and I think I brought it up on our kind of bad episode of all those reviews, is the movie Truth or Dare. I finally got a chance to see it.
Is it the one where they hunt the girl?
No.
I'm thinking hide and seek.
This
which was
basically
excellent.
the summarized plot is that you find out. Guess what? Spoilers, but I don't care.
Spoilers. Wait 5 seconds.
The summarized plot is that there was you find out during the movie that there was it takes place in kind of a convent or a ruined convent or abandoned convent, and those that were the nuns there summoned the demon and trapped the demon there, and years later there was a party at the demon that was trapped loved to play games, and there was a party between that happened prior to what we see in the movie. They accidentally released the trapped demon, and they were playing Truth or Dare. Right. And the demon pretty much latched on, told the last particular player, you have to bring more people into the game. Right. Thus, the movie that we see, Truth or Dare. And
that's almost the plot for the other movie I was talking about.
Basically, the rules of this particular game of Truth or Dare, set by, in essence, the demon. You refuse to play, you die. Right. You lie, you die. Don't do the dare, you die. Yeah. So in essence, you have to play no matter what, and you have to tell the truth no matter what. Right. And this is what I kind of want to discuss in a way, is because in the process of the movie, it's like they try to recapture the demon in a kind of like a debunk box or whatever the fuck they're called. It's a debunk jar in a way. They lose that option in the movie of recapturing this demon. And the two remaining players pretty much tell the demon, just kill us. And the main girl in the movie says, pretty much flips the script on the demon by inviting the demon into the game. Therefore, the demon has to tell the truth in a way, or else it has to dissipate or die. Right. And the demon pretty much says, "Well, you don't play. You don't do as I want you to do. You'll die." And she says, "Pretty much, fine, kill us." And the question is, wouldn't that propose a type of paradox, because the demon wants the game to continue. If the players decide, you know what, we'll either do ourselves in for the greater good, or we'll have you, the demon, do us in, thus the game is over. When, by their rules, his rules or the demon's rules of the game, that the game constantly has to continue,
Right.
wouldn't the demon have to break its own rules in order to keep the players alive no matter what?
Well, I'm trying to think. There's always a twist with a demon in a movie or in a. There's always a twist. Like how would it? In other words, how would it deceive you into believing that you're doing the right thing? I don't know.
That's
something
one
I'd have to think on.
And it's also the aspect, in a way, that in the movie, the main person kind of flips the script by saying, in order to, one of the things to keep yourself alive longer is to invite more people to the game. Right. And since it comes to light in the movie that she has a couple hundred or a couple thousand to a couple million followers on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
And
so when was this movie made? Last year?
I think so. Something like last year, 2018, 2019.
That's funny.
So,
it's funny how similar it is to the
hide and seek.
Ready or Not or whatever it is.
Right.
I want to say it was Ready or Not. Because that one is the plot with it. Real quick. So the plot for that one was the girl's getting married into this rich family, like ultra rich.
Yeah.
Like, and the whole thing is they come from gaming, so that's how they made all their money. Board games, games of skill. So, the one thing though, they have a ritual at midnight on the night after they get married. She has to draw a card, and whatever it says they have to do. Like, basically, like others in the family got like chess, and the point is you have to play, and you have to play by like morning or something like that, whatever. And there's no harm, no foul. But if you draw hide and seek, that's like a bad one. Apparently, when you draw hide and seek, the whole point is like you have to stay alive until morning, and they have to kill you. If they don't kill you by like the time the sun rises, apparently something happens. So without giving a whole bunch of stuff away, spoilers. She draws the card, and they have to hunt her. And it's a really good fucking movie.
I think the library has. I might have to.
Yeah, you have to check that one out. That's a really good one. But kind of in the same vein, because the whole thing with why they're tied to the game is because there was a deal made with a demon, Mr. Black, something, I don't know. You see him at the end of the movie. They talk about it. But yeah, like the grandfather had made this deal with a demon or something. That's how they got rich.
I just brought it up because it seemed like a decent thing to converse about, because it does have that aspect of, she kind of reveals what's going on with, like, we were lured into this game by the demon, and she reveals, like, hey, if you don't play, and you die, you lie, you die, you don't do the dare, you die. And what you see is the demon kind of what other folks tend to, meaning that the demon comes to you, like we could be talking as we are right now. You could be talking to me, yet I'd hear the demon like truth or dare, truth or dare, that sort of deal. You could be reading Cat in a Hat to me, and yet I'd hear the demon say truth or dare. If I choose truth, you'd be asking that the demon through you would be asking me the question to reveal truth, yet you'd be reading Cat in a Hat, and everybody else in the area would hear you read Cat in a Hat, yet I'd hear the demon. Right. But at the end, you see one of the folks watching this girl's video, and the person behind her gets kind of like it looks like a Snapchat filter of him, the demon grinning, sort of thing. And it's that sort of thing. It's like, it's kind of late 2019 stupid horror movie, PG bull crap. And I'm there watching, like, scene does not contain a lap dance, son of a bitch, It's like, what happened to my late 80s and early 90s horror movies where they're gone. It's got to be PG-13. Son of a bitch. That's just why I go to independent movies, you bastards.
That's why I was watching like this one was it last night? It was called The Monster Project. I believe it was on Prime. It wasn't bad.
Oh, like that whole aspect of me watching Velocipastor, and it's like, I had to watch this. It's like I had to.
The whole thing is, it's like... The whole thing is it's just jump scares.
Yeah.
There's no real horror. It's just a bunch of jump scares. And it's like, I mean, the makeup was good. The acting was actually pretty good. But it wasn't like where are our movies that we used to watch that we were like,
scared to turn on the light.
Yeah. This thing was nothing like that. It was like you could watch it with a kid.
Right.
It'll probably scare the crap out of the kid because it's just jump scares, but
And I'm going to have to pause this one more time. And we're back, folks. So we just needed to use I know you guys and gals don't want to hear that, but we also wanted to get a refill on our drinks. But one of the things that I wanted to kind of go into a little bit is that over the past few weeks that Kevin Smith announced that he's going to be behind the new He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
What a squad for that!
Yeah,
so weird.
I want to say he kind of knew. I don't know too much if it's going to be one of those. Kevin Smith doesn't really do the whole aspect of let's get woke and all that.
Right.
But one of the things that it has come out. Let's see here. I want to bring up the. Let's see. Where is that screenshot? There it is. No, it's not there. That's the other thing was thinking of talking about. Just the aspect of Mark Hamill as Skeletor is one of the big names. That that's a powerhouse right there.
But what I'm worried about is the execution.
That's the aspect. You have some great names on the list. I have the list in front of me. Yeah, like Sarah Michelle Gellar as Teela, Kevin Conroy as Merman. Some of the it doesn't really. I don't see. Wait a minute. Some of the names I don't actually recognize, but others I do. But I want to see, as you said, the execution, how it is, the animation quality, how everything is. You could have a great cast list. Right. You could have a great, showrunner like Kevin Smith, but the whole aspect of it could be another. As I don't want to say as some could say, but as some had said, a She-Ra type of aspect for Netflix. It could be completely a shit show.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So it's just like his last batch of movies, like he's a good indie filmmaker.
He's good at what.
He's not a good blockbuster filmmaker.
Right.
Like the newest you saw, I heard that you watched the newest Jay and Silent Bob.
It's just it was meh.
It was flat.
Yeah. He
recycled
a lot
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
That's all it was. There was some good bits and some bad bits. I laughed. Yeah, I laughed at a couple of bits, but other times it was just like, this is just. If I wanted to watch Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, I'd watch Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Right, which was a good comedy. Like he actually executed with that one in the vein of Mallrats, a good entertaining, tongue-in-cheek comedy.
This was a rehash of.
It was kind of sad.
A rehash of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, just with his daughter.
How unfunny and uninteresting Yoga Hosers was. Did you ever watch that one?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was stunningly bad. Then there was like, Tusk was, The only good movie he's put out in the last, 10 years was Red State. I liked Red State. I've watched that several times. Him behind the camera as a dramatic director actually almost works better.
And him working through like TV type things,
But you can tell it's him.
Yeah, especially when you see his daughter turn up. I'm not saying anything against him.
She's a good actress. She's a good little actress. Did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
No, not yet.
She was in that one. I mean, briefly. She had no starring role, but
I know what you're saying.
That was a good one. But she's going to be around, not doing just Kevin Smith movies. She'll be around.
Right.
She's pretty good.
The whole aspect of, at least with her dad doing shows and movies, she has that aspect of, can I be in this one? You know, that way she could at least have I want to say a legit way of keeping her face.
It was funny that they actually made reference to that in the movie, though.
Yeah.
He puts his daughter in everything.
But, you know what I'm saying? At least instead of, like, you hear certain stars having scandals and this and that, and doing stupid crap to keep their face in the spotlight away, at least with his daughter, Kevin Smith's daughter, at least that if he does a project, whether it be TV or movie, independent movie, even if it is on video on demand, she could have at least a legit way of, one, earning an income, two, keeping her face in the spotlight. That way, if she goes to a big role and they're like, well, you're only in Kevin's. Well, one, he's my dad. Two, hey, I'm still working.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what the really funny thing about that movie was? The aspect of her and Jay, like, you know, like that was supposed to be her dad or whatever.
Right.
From the previous thing with Shannon Elizabeth. That aspect of the movie was actually the best part. Like the dramatic acting, like
right.
of them trying to get a relationship, but he couldn't really say who he was and that kind of thing. That, as a standalone drama, that kind of held water. But just rehashing the whole Jay and Silent Bob aspect on top of that was not. I don't think
one of the things I think I said in my review in regards to it, it's like with the whole aspect of Rosario Dawson's character in this movie, the reboot. The Jay and Silent Bob's reaction to seeing her, it's kind of like, are they reacting to the fact that Jay's former lover is part of the, you know, having this lesbian affair, or the fact that the person that she's having an affair with is pretty much, in essence, married to, you know, Dante, or, you know.
I don't think she's in the same. That was her partner. I don't think that.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. What I'm saying is the fact that
was she supposed to be canon, not the girl from.
What I'm saying is the whole aspect of Jay and Silent Bob is that they're kind of almost a Deadpool in a way, because they kind of, even though they operate in their own universe, they also break the fourth wall a lot. In essence, are they reacting to the fact that they know this person looks exactly like Dante's, you know, Dante's wife, or the fact that the person that Jay was in essence having a relationship with is now gay? You know, it was that. Are they reacting? You know,
I think it's that. But like, I don't know.
But in a way, how Kevin Smith tends to write the characters, it could almost work both ways.
It could almost work both ways. It's just, either way, it was so ham-handedly done. I was like, who cares?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Like, I mean, he could have expanded his own universe. He could have had, like, they're a threesome, like her and Dante, and then like he, you know,
that would have been an interesting little,
like little tidbit, like, oh, we're all married to each other, like
it could have came up. It's like, wait a minute, you look familiar. You look like Dante's, you know, woman. You know, it's like. Like her kind of going, hush, you know, don't say anything.
Or they'd all know each other and he's not even supposed to be here.
That would have been even worse, even better. You know, it just him showing up like, I'm not supposed to be here.
I'm not supposed to be here. Today.
What are you guys doing here?
That joke never gets old.
Never gets old.
No,
never. To kind of move on, it's like we also got word. I won't say word. Robert Englund kind of came out saying he's willing to voice Freddy Krueger in a kind of a Nightmare on Elm Street
He's in a high budget animated
movie.
Yeah.
I want to say for something in regards to this, I think if it's done, I wouldn't say like this. What? Not so much what.
I'm saying why.
Well, when it comes to horror, you could do a little bit more with animation than you can with.
Well, then who is doing anything with animated horror?
Nobody. It could be the next big thing,
it
though.
Could
too.
be, yeah.
But in a way, it's a good idea too, because you have a lot of with Hollywood nowadays trying to pander to nostalgia.
Yeah.
What a way to bring back the folks that have a lot of nostalgia for, let's say with Nightmare on Elm Street, you can't really bring back Robert Englund because he's probably aged so far.
Yeah.
What better way to kind of keep the character youthful,
Right.
and yet still have the whole nostalgic factor by bringing the actual actor in to voice the character?
Now, are we talking about a rated R animation, an anime, or are we talking about an animated Nightmare on Elm Street that's going to appeal to kids?
Hopefully, again, the article I don't think said, but hopefully what Hollywood needs to do is keep it rated R. But they don't want to do that because they want to
be animated. See, that's the
not so much animated, but they want to.
That's the problem I'm having with it. Like, you can get away with anime being rated R or NC-17, whatever you want to say, if it's anime. If it's animated, you can't. There's been movies that have come out lately, like some of the Batman movies,
right?
That they've put out are PG-13, maybe not. I don't think any of them have been R, but they're definitely adult themes. But it's just that aspect of it being a cartoon. It's a slippery slope because it's going to attract kids. Like, I want to see Freddy Krueger slicing up naked teenagers. That's what everybody wants to see. But the problem is, if you attract it to a animated audience, it's going to be kids.
And then again, with a lot, as we kind of discussed before or hinted at before, is that with how Hollywood is now, you can't have even a horror rated R anymore. It has to be PG-13.
Well,
and because they want the more money if it's PG-13 than it is rated R.
That's true too.
And
you're not going to get a good product. In other words, you're going to get a subpar, mediocre, wannabe product.
And that's the aspect of it. It's like the whole aspect of the ratings board and whatever it's called, the
Well,
PAA.
like you said earlier,
It's the aspect of it's like, well, I don't like the fact that this is the person got. Well, this is a horror movie.
Right.
You have to have blood, guts, and gore.
Well, like you said
but
earlier, give me indie. I'm a fan.
Yeah. It's like
there's nobody like lording over the indie scene, telling them what they can and cannot do.
That's why I think once mainstream populace gets tired, sick, as much as a lot of the folks in mainstream who go to Regal, Berkeley Theater, or whatever their main theater of choice is to go to, get sick and tired of seeing the rehashed movies, the reboots, the redos, the dumbed down sequels.
It's so bad right now.
And what, in a way, even though they're flying under the radar, what you need more of is folks like Matt Burns, Mark Burns, John Johnson, and David Kerr kind of saying, hey, there is a indie market for you that is doing original content, but the folks won't rather have the cookie cutter, in essence, if you want to use a food restaurants, Ruby Tuesdays, B-dubs. They don't want to do a mom and pop shop type of ordeal. They're so used to, so conditioned going to the mainstream stuff, the Universal, the Disney, the whole aspect of that. They don't want to go to indie. Do the indie. There's like, well, we don't like horror. Well, there's probably a whole crap ton of indie drama, indie comedy, indie stuff that is out there. And I'm not talking Kevin Smith or Troma Films. I'm talking, again, Mark Byrne, Absurd Productions, Darkstone, Slasher 15.
Have you seen the new? It's the Darkstone stuff that he's doing currently, like the new. What is it? Not Spade. Is it Spade?
Yeah, Spade.
Spade versus what's his name? It's like that Toby guy from from TikTok.
Right.
I'm not talking good.
Yeah, but it's that aspect that you need the indie folks. It's like I think more and more people are going towards indie. That's why you see, like Bloody Summer Camp. They're at $16,000 and almost $17,000 for their latest Kit Kat, which ends today.
Yeah.
they'll probably hit 17K today by the time it ends.
Wrestle Massacre comes out on my birthday in June.
But you know what I'm talking
That's
about.
gonna
The
be awesome.
aspect that there are more people with crowdfunding comics, you have more and more people that are starting to be sick and tired of the mainstream stuff.
They are.
And
Because
they're going towards the indie stuff.
It's like I was telling you, like, last year we were talking about this, and I said it, and goddamn if it's not coming true. People have gotten sick of the bullshit.
And the
They
fact
got
that
sick of, like, the dumbing down. They got sick of the cookie cutter. They've got sick of all that, and they're going to find alternative sources for their entertainment. And Hollywood is going to dry up. Marvel Comics is going to dry up. DC Comics is, well, they're going to get bought out.
But the whole aspect is that when a lot of folks, when they see the aspect, I want to say, let's look at Slasher 15 and look at what Billy Tushy's doing with his crowdfunding for She. When you look at something like a Bloody Summer Camp, where through Indiegogo or Kickstarter or what have you, you're getting not just the DVD for $20. If you contribute a little bit more and help this movie get made, you get like a mini poster, you get maybe a signed prop, you get credit on the film. That's if you have the money, but if you want,
I hate to beat a dead horse, but like, look at what
you get stuff.
Look at what Spot Out Comics did with all the stuff that they put out last year. Spotto Del Gato, or whatever the hell it is, they put out that one. What was it? It was the controversial one. But it wasn't really controversial. It was just controversial because the guy doing it was that Comics Matter guy. Anyway, but he put, was it $300,000 they made on Kickstarter? Oh my freaking god!
And it's like the whole aspect of like with what Billy Tushy does with the She stuff. He gets like Amanda Connor and the whole other folks to do prints, to join.
Van
And
Stiver's doing the covers on his stuff.
But what I'm talking. It's like if you donate like $100, you get like 5 different prints sent to you plus the comic. You get, it's all signed,
all the special
special deals.
The only difference is you're not getting it right now.
Right.
But you're contributing to it coming out.
And you're getting a whole mess of extra. Once people are like, well, I'm not paying $5-10 for just a special gimmicky cover. I'm getting a box full of stuff for a comic, for a, prints, with what Bloody Summer Camp is doing, a signed signed shoes, signed poster, get your name in the film, get a photo in the film. Mm-hmm. It allows fan or people participating in the movie.
And they can immerse themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And
be a part, hey, I was a part of this.
Right. Or, even at times it's a lot of times it's as little as $5. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, depending on the Indiegogo, you could donate $1, and that still helps the doggo.
Where's my kid? Oh, Bubby.
It still helps the funding for the project get off the ground. And when you have someone like Ethan Van Sciver getting millions over the course of, I don't know how many books he's put out over the course of, millions of dollars, thousands upon people contributing to it, and people are so kind of hating on him for this. And no, you know what?
Marvel hates their guts right now because they're taking this direct market approach to selling comics to people rather than going through the channels that, they're the gatekeepers, as the one guy says. And now you're denying the gatekeepers what they do is gatekeep. Like, you're getting into the industry on your own terms and selling books to people directly, and you don't have to go through Marvel and put up with their bullshit, the way that they think and feel, and you can do it yourself. And
you can get probably more bank. Whereas that $10 for that, you might be paying $10 for that book, and all in all, it might cost them like $5 to get that book printed and made, and out of that, I'm just probably lowballing, $5 to get it printed, maybe an extra artist for the cover or an inker or somebody like that, or a colorist. They're still probably making a couple bucks on that book, more than that they would if they went to Marvel or they did it through Diamond or something like that. They're getting a little bit more.
But they're not churning out commercial crap.
Right.
that has restrictions. Like they're churning out what they want to churn out. Just same like I said, same with indie film. Mark Burns not worried about Coca-Cola sponsoring his latest monster movie or his latest horror movie. He's making what he wants to make on his own terms.
Or like that whole aspect of, I see it pop up every now and again, especially when it was kind of invading my feed, the whole Velocipaster thing. Yeah. And it was like, at first when I saw it, it's like, this has got to be this can't be a thing. This can't be a thing. Mm-hmm. And when I did the Voodoo search for it, and it's like, wait a minute, this is a thing? Yeah. The trailer isn't busting my chops? Yeah. How much is it? I wasn't sure to purchase it. I had to, I guess some of the rental fee does go towards the people who make the film, but it's like I have to rent this. I have to watch it. I was hooked with the trailer. It had that not just the indie feel. It had the kind of the grunge feel, the way Death Proof was and all that. It had that the trailer feel to it,
the gritty feel,
the gritty feel, and it's like I had to watch it. Yeah. And I had the money to watch it, so I did watch it. I'm like, it to me, as you heard in my review, it had the Skeleton Key feel to it. It was kind of, even though it was probably rated R and it had that aspect of doing more, having probably the nudity and all that, it didn't. It had the aspect of the humor of a Skeleton Key. I mean, like, I'm like, I'm laughing my ass off through this whole thing, and they probably were doing it, trying to do it serious, but I'm laughing. Yeah. I'm enjoying myself. I can't look away.
Right.
And it's like, it's that aspect. If you have a good trailer, you're going to bring in people to watch this. You're going to have folks like me saying, yeah, this is the thing. It's not as, you have to watch. It's not the death, sick dream that is Kung Fury, but you have to watch.
No, it's not that.
It's not that level, but you have to. It's like you have to actually see this to actually believe that it exists. And through like Mr. Lobo, Sang Vui, Psycho Cinema, I kept saying, is this a thing? Yes, it is. It's on Vudu, And many people probably were watching it because once they found out it was a thing, they had to watch it. And they couldn't. Yeah. It's a train wreck you can't look away from.
No.
And that's what I loved about it. That's why I think a lot of folks who...
And you can tell the legitimate ones versus the illegitimate ones. There's movies that are made to be weird for the intent purpose to sell weirdness. And there's weird movies that are made by people that are maniac geniuses.
This was probably a little bit. It was probably
a maniac
genius.
This is somebody who greenlit a movie called Velocipaster because they're probably like, I don't know.
It's like
they're like a Lloyd Kaufman, where like, yeah, let's make this.
Is a movie like this on the market? No. Should we make it? Why not?
They probably had like a dream one night, and that term came through, Velocipaster. Fuck it, I'm making a movie.
Yeah, and it's like, it's that whole aspect of it's a uber low budget, and you can tell it's an uber low budget. But if you get the right
one scene where literally they wrote something's supposed to be here, but
right. Yeah, it was like there was supposed to be like a car explosion. It's like VFX car explosion, and they flip back to the passenger, and he's going no, and they flip back, it's like VFX car fire. Yeah. And even I told Matt Burns, like, they could have got a stock image, but no, this is too funny.
No, they just left that.
And it's like they probably did that for the laugh, for the lulz. It's just the maniac genius. It's like. I want to say it's almost on par with Kung Fury, where he's in the office like, your new partner is Triceratops, and you're like, wait, what? And all of a sudden there's a cop, Triceratops cop, in a cop's uniform, and you're like, the fuck?
See, that's another good one. But a bad example is that movie Turbo Kid. You ever see that one?
Yeah.
That's trying too hard. That's like trying way too hard to be weird.
If it has to seem occurring, and no, it's like it's in a way, Velocipaster. Well, yes, we're using it as a reference. Velocipaster seems to be meta and knows what it is.
Right.
Kind of the same way that Skeleton Key kind of knows what it is, yet doesn't seem to know what it is, which makes the humor seem to work and the drama seem to work. Yeah. And like if you've seen Velocipaster, there's the scene where kind of like the bad guys are like the girl's kind of dying in the hero's arms, and all the bad guys are like, she's dying, but it's like. The whole aspect of like Neil picking up the steak and having going, why would you have these?
Right.
It's like it knows that it's going to be supposed to. Here's this. It's drawing you in to be a dramatic, and all of a sudden it takes you out.
Like another one, and this is not a horror, but it's a comedy that very much knows that it's weird, but at the same time knows that it's a comedy. Is you ever see Pootie Tang?
No. For a moment, I thought you were going to say Saturday the 14th.
That's another one. But Pootie Tang.
it's one of those.
Ridiculous.
Is it ridiculous or redonkulous?
It is redonkulous. As a movie, it is so stupid, it's funny. Like, it's one of those, it's almost on par with like a Zucker Brothers movie, how dumb it is. Like, but it knows that it's dumb. So it makes fun of itself throughout the whole thing. It's just so damn funny. Like it's got a very indie vibe to it. There's nothing high budget about this damn thing. But the fact that the names associated with it, like you got Wanda Sykes, you got Chris Rock, there's a ton of people in it, like David Cross. There's a ton of people in it that are well-known comedians. I don't know if they knew at the time what they were making. But, oh my God, that movie is it's a gem. Like, just some of the stuff in there. Like, there's a scene, it always makes me laugh, where Pootie's in the recording studio. And he's going to make his new song. And so he tells because he never actually speaks. Like, he speaks, but it's just in, like, this, like, sabotage. He just says, like, these weird words.
I thought you were almost making a Suburban Commando type reference to the way... the Undertaker comes out and goes, I'm going to get you, No. He never, like, he talks, but, like, you just can't really understand what he's saying because it's just, like, kind of jive. Like a jive, mushmouth type of aspect.
It's just he speaks in jive. And so, like, he's telling the sound engineer, just turn it all down. Like, there's no music, nothing. He goes in there, he puts on the headphones, he gets in front of the mic and just like he's singing, but nothing's coming out. And like they're in there like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Oh my God. They put it on the radio. There's people like just getting down to like nothing. Pootie did it again. Oh, Pootie did it again. The number one hit. Like they're going crazy and there's just nothing.
No music, just no
words, no vocals.
2-3 minutes of nothing.
Of just nothing. And like there's a scene where this kid's doing his homework and he's like bopping to it and the dad comes in, turn that noise down. Just it's too funny. It's the classic example of a not very high budget but a great stupid like it knows what it is. It's like
it's that whole aspect of like again what you say, what it is,
yeah,
but other people are not going to get it. It's like you bring up like you and I know indie stuff. It's like we know about like Skeleton Key, we know about like it's like that one Japanese kind of goofball horror that I introduced you, Chainsaw Girl or Machine Girl.
Oh my God, Machine Girl.
Machine Girl. And it's like so over the top, so it reminds you of like Evil Dead or Riki-Oh.
Oh
it's just, I mean, it's just like, oh my God, they can't, oh shit, they did.
They did.
They
went there.
They went there. It's, some people don't get it, some people do.
It's funny like when you think about those movies, like we think they're great.
Yet people...
Why do we think they're great? They're obviously bad movies, but like something in us that
like a moth to the flame.
Yeah.
We kind of watch them.
I'm going to watch that way before I watch like some Academy Award winning.
It's movie. Like, wait a minute, Danny Trejo's in here? Oh, I got to watch it. Danny Trejo. Right. It's an independent film.
I'm going to watch Machete probably 1,000 times before I watched
It's like-
anything that was nominated for anything ever.
There was this indie film I watched, I think it was like last year or the year before. Tony Todd was in it.
Yeah.
And I watched it because one of the people that we had on the show, and I've met a couple of times, she said she was in it, along with Tony Todd and a few others. And I was like, I'll check it out. And the character I was drawn, I think Tony Todd appeared twice.
Yeah.
The beginning, he kind of bookmarked the movie. He played the farmer.
Yeah.
And the movie was okay,
Yeah.
but I was so intrigued of Tony Todd's character
Yeah.
that I wanted to see a full movie about his character, because he was, according to the movie, he said, I was an asparagus farmer. Now I farm people. And because he had this character, I'm like, I want to see that movie. I want to know his backstory. And is that hole that you're hearing screams from connected to, the movie I just watched, or something different? I want to know.
Yeah.
And that's what drew me in. Is because, again, Tony Todd, such, so underrated.
Yeah.
He's such an underrated actor.
He's a good actor.
Yeah, so underrated.
Like, you need to host a panel. Just going back to what we were talking about earlier. You'd have to talk to Matt Burns probably about this, but like, host a panel sometime, like with some of the directors and the actors and the people that are in the indie films that we're talking about. Why do we watch
Indie
films?
Maybe
What is in us that we watch, or even do it on the podcast? Like, have a big panel of people in here that, like, that are indie filmmakers, that are indie actors, indie this, indie that. Why do we like indie movies? What is it about indie that we're so passionate about? Because, like,
if I said, we're going to be at 4 Seat this year.
Yeah.
At least, more than likely, hopefully both days, depending on how things fall. We'll try. I'll see if not Matt Burns. As much as we enjoy Matt Burns having on the show, I know John DeGallo.
Huh?
Jason.
Yeah,
I know he's going to be there. If Mark Byrne is going to be there, or if anybody that we know that's an independent director, even Todd I think it's Chamberlain. If he's going to be there, we'll get him on. These guys at our table and talk to them.
Yeah.
You have to, even if it's on a Saturday, because there's not only one panel that I'm really interested in, maybe two panels that we're interested in recording on Saturday. Get these folks and the mix hooked up with the mics at our table, and probably do our own live panel outside the main panels at our table.
It's working.
In regards to talking about that, and I know when it comes to recording the panels at 4 State, we got from, I think Andrew is one of the main people behind 4 State Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
He said we're allowed to record any panel we want, as long as we get permission. Yep. And so far we have one officially permission, and that's the guy that does the Necroman comic last year.
Oh, yeah.
He pretty much said, you're more than welcome to record our panel this year. Okay. And so we got at least that. And there's one thing I want to talk about this year, this episode, before we kind of wrap things up and everything. And that is, we did manage over the past few months get ourselves a pawn shop find of a PS4. Which we don't have that many people there's like 2 people on. I don't have the show connected to it yet, but personally there's 2 people on my friends list on it. The main reason why I got it is because even though I enjoy my Xbox One, not many people that I know are playing the same games that I do. Right. And that kind of makes everything boring. So I'm usually watching YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, Vudu on my Xbox One. And when I'm ready to go to work, the few hours I'm usually working now, it's my few unemployed friends that are online that are like, you want to play Borderlands, or you want to play Halo? I'm like, you do realize I'm about to head out to see if I'm working today? Yeah. It's like, and by the time I get back, if I'm scaled out or if I'm working the 4 hours I'm supposed to be working, they're not on, or they're someplace else or anything like that. And you know what? No. Right. But the few people I picked up Borderlands, just the baseline Borderlands 3 for PS4. Hopefully, there's at least one person I'm playing Borderlands 3 on PS4 with that. He himself got tired because he had nobody to play with on his PS4. Yeah. So it's like, I know him, he knows me. We both have Borderlands 3. And you know what? We're going through the game together. And one of the things I picked up over the holidays is an extra. My main headset from my Xbox One went foobar. Right. It didn't want to work anymore. So I picked up an actual PS1 legit headset for my controller, and they have at GameStop the El Cheapo was $20, now it's $15 type Turtle Beach headsets, and it's one of those type of generic. We're going to just slap a Xbox One logo on this, and we're going to put out the same product for a PS4, but put a PS4 logo on the box instead of an Xbox One logo, and it's the same goddamn product. Yeah. And I picked up that for my Xbox One as a backup headset. So in essence, since I picked this up, I saved myself about $20 because same headset works on both.
Yeah, right.
So, and it's not the greatest headset, but still it works. And it's just as much as I want to get like the Handsome Jack collection, but I'll just wait. Right. But with the day that I got it, I was able to get their version of their system, the PSN free games, which was like the Sims 4 and the BioShock collection, which is all 3 games in the DLC. Yeah. So at least I have that, and plus now that Destiny 2 is free, I picked that up for the PS4, and since Bungie has crossplay for it, and I just transferred my saved characters from Destiny 2 over to the PS4, just in case I want to fiddle on Destiny 2 for a little while, I can easily do that. Yeah. The only downside, I also picked up the Game of the Year edition for the original Borderlands. I miss my overpowered Roland character. It's like one of those that's so overpowered it's almost god tier. It's like it has modded weapons. The Roland's, the whole thing's modded that just all I have to do is look at an enemy and it just blows up. and it's like no, I have to work for this character. God damn it! But the only thing I found I don't mind in regards to getting like BioShock stuff and Borderlands stuff is I know the game and I kind of familiar with the controls in reference to the who's what. There's a slight learning curve. Right. But for me, being an Xbox person for well over 15 years, since like 2007, 2008, I'm used to an Xbox controller. Right. I'm not used to a PlayStation controller, and that's my only really nitpick. Right. And it just the controller feels funky in my hand. And I'm not comfortable with it yet. Yeah, I understand. It's just that aspect. Yeah. And
I'm more comfortable with one of those than an Xbox controller. I think the Xbox controller is the worst feeling controller that's out there.
I spoke to a buddy that I'm playing Borderlands 3 with now. He said he tried, he picked up like the Xbox One controller to try like a game on that. I guess one of his friends has an Xbox One. Yeah. He said he couldn't believe how, for him, the Xbox One controller is way comfortable for him. For that. He's like, he was surprised how it fit, how it played, and how the controls were on it. He said the only reason why he doesn't really like the Xbox One is that a lot of the games that he enjoys is on the PlayStation 4. Right. Because he enjoys the Final Fantasy stuff, a lot of the Kingdom Hearts stuff, and like the God of War stuff. So that is his. That's why he likes the PS4, and I don't blame him for that. But for me, I'm mostly,
I might be getting a 360 for like $30.
I know you're kind of tight on funds, but if you're able to score a kind of a pawn shop find of a Xbox One, I know they're about $150. Yeah. I could put you on my my console as your home console, and you have access to every single one of my games.
Oh wow!
And
I'd like to get one, but like for $30, my nephew, he was gonna like take it to like whatever that place is downtown. Can't remember the name right now. As a trade,
back to the media.
Back to the media, but they wouldn't take.
Shout out to Back to the Media. They're decent.
Badass. They're awesome. But they wouldn't take it because it's a white one, and I guess the white ones are prone to red rings of death.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get it from them for like $30. The only reason I want it is because I want. I woke up one morning with a hankering to play Burnout. Did you ever play the Burnout series?
Yeah, I loved it, and the thing is, on my Xbox One, it was like a Games with Gold. It was like a Burnout remix for the Xbox One, and you get that. Plus, I have like for my in my games selection to download, I have NHL 2018, I think, Burnout. I think one of the WWE games.
Right.
I think it was like 2017, something like that.
Yeah, those are.
And I have the Master Chief Collection. I know you.
It's
been a while.
And the other one I would want would be Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, I've got, as you know, I don't have. I have a few of the older stuff for Grand Theft Auto, and I have the old stuff. But
as long as if it's San Andreas and up, that's all I care about.
I got like 5 at their free video Back to the Media's free video game thing. Yeah. So it to me, I wasn't thrilled about it, but it's one of those things. If you picked up, there you go.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that their free video game day, if I'm working a different job by the time they're doing it again, it's going to suck because I wouldn't mind picking up a PS4 game this year.
Wasn't there around like now?
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about it.
I don't know if they're going to do it again.
So even though it was good last year, we had fun doing it, and that's about it for right now. We're going to save some of the other stuff for another time. We'll probably have more to talk about and more stuff, and hopefully we'll be able to meet up again or do it at Forest State Comic Con, all that fun jazz. So fun jazz. This is going to be a busy weekend for us recording, and stay tuned for our outro stuff. So again, be right back. And welcome back, folks. As Big Candy's putting the lid back on his cup of his cold brew coffee that we got at the Daily Grind. Special thanks to the Daily Grind for letting us record in their studio. I won't say studio, but we always treat it as our studio and our in-house area. It's their conference room, which we are allowed to record free instead of paying $10 an hour like we would have to do at the library and possibly be interrupted at any point for them to hold a meeting. But still, special thanks to Daily Grind for letting us do this and kind of go a little past our 2-hour window that we're allowed. But still, if you're disappointed with this episode, please let us know by sending us an email to longcoatmafia@gmail.com. If you're not disappointed with this episode, please, again, you could also send us an email at longcoatmafia@gmail.com. But you could also leave us a comment in the pinned post, or no matter what episode it's for. We will respond to it. We might read it on air in regards to everything at our episodes. I think we've done that in the past. But we will read your comments. We will read your email on the air if it's valid or interesting enough to be read on the air. Again, leave a comment in the pinned post, or if this episode is posted up on YouTube, depending on how YouTube wants to treat the episode, you're more than welcome to leave a comment there, and we do respond. We did have one comment on our episode Stripping to John Wick, which has been a couple of months ago. I think the person that was listening to the episode on YouTube thought someone was actually stripping to John Wick, and they were like, why am I listening to this episode or watching this? And I was like, well, you probably thought something completely different when you clicked on the link.
Pull your pants back up.
But still, again, I do realize sometimes our titles are a little bit clickbaity, but still, they're there for it.
little bit.
A little bit, but I think that's usually the par for the course for a lot of times, but still. You're also able to send us a direct message through Twitter, which is Long Coat Mafia, or leave us a message on Instagram, which is also Long Coat Mafia. Let's see, what else? While you're on any one of our social medias, even if it's on Facebook, which our Facebook page...
My hand on the mic.
Again! At least it's not the table like Zombie Bunny used to do. Bonk. Talk about throwback machine. Zombie Bunny, we miss you. We would always like to have you back. No matter what. As we were saying, whether our Facebook page, our Facebook page is facebook.com/The Long Coat Mafia Podcast, or it's our Twitter or Instagram. Please hit that like or follow. In regards to YouTube, you have to search for The Long Coat Mafia Podcast, which will bring up our YouTube channel. Just click that subscribe button. We will have actual videos posted up for this year. I don't think we'll have the same number of videos that we did last year, because we had 52 videos, the equivalent of one per week last year, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And we had quite a few that, did very well in regards to the number of subscribers that we have and everything else. So hopefully we'll have a few more. Maybe as things progress, we'll also have maybe a few vlog episodes too. It all depends on how things fall this year. But we would love to have you subscribe to that channel. We recommend you subscribing to our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook page, because sometimes we'll put up an exclusive video on one or the other because of how each platform tends to handle things. Because sometimes YouTube tends to be funky, sometimes Facebook tends to be funky. Sometimes both tend to be funky. We haven't had that yet, but it looks like it might be that way sometime soon.
Right now, I'm funky.
No, you shouldn't have had those eggs.
I had hash browns. I went to Waffle House this morning, and that's the first time I've had Waffle House in probably, not lying, 10 years. And I got the scattered, smothered, covered, capped, peppered. What else? Anyway, it's blending well in my tummy.
But
man, Waffle House is good. Shout out to Waffle House.
We do have
shout out to Blue White.
Yeah, Blue White. They're good food.
Yeah,
always fills you up there. I think today I had their tall stack and 2 slices of bacon and a shake, and it was like full up by the time I finished the tall stack.
Yeah.
And it was only 4 pancakes.
Did they got a good burger?
I recommend the Big Bopper, which is their double cheeseburger, and it's thick.
Really?
Yeah. It's literally a double cheeseburger that's like that thick.
Wow. Holy shit.
And it comes with fries.
I love a good local burger. You know what I mean?
It is good. They have a junior Big Bopper, just because people look at the Big Bopper and we're like, oh my God.
They're like, oh my God, I want to not die today.
Right. And one person, this was like a couple of years before we started this, and they were going through the menu looking for recommendations. I'm like booth behind them saying, yeah, try the Big Bopper. And she was like, yeah, I'll try the Big Bopper. Is it good? I'm like, damn good. She just turned to the waitress and went, yo, put a bacon on that. I was like, are you single? But
there's a new place going in where I'm from, Winchester, with they're going to have a new food challenge. And I'm kind of interested. Me and one of the guards at where I work, we're like, oh yeah. Because it's called Highway 55, and apparently the food challenge is it's 55 ounces of hamburger on a 55-ounce burger, essentially, like stacked high.
Almost like the Godzilla burger.
Yeah, only 55 ounces. I'm like, Jesus H. Christ, how many patties is that? It's like apparently it's patties and cheese and lettuce and all that, and you got to eat a plate of fries and a drink with it. And apparently if you do it within I want to say an hour, could be a half hour. It's free.
It sounds like the Godzilla burger of I want to say some place in Massachusetts or Rhode Island.
Yeah.
They have what's called the Godzilla burger, which sounds like what you're talking about. It's like 55 ounces of cheeseburger and a pound of fries, and you get a drink. You're supposed to finish it within like a half hour or an hour.
Something like that.
And the challenge is, if you complete that, you have the aspect of leveling up, which is getting one more patty. You have to do the whole challenge again with this time with 1 or 2 more patties and another pound of fries.
Oh my God.
And there are folks that they have the wall that people have done like double that.
Oh,
went all the way up to the top. And I think at one point, what was funny is that the same place was featured on Drive-Ins, Dives, and and the guy looked at, the host looked at the burger and the fries. He was like, "Oh my God!" And you hear in the back of it, it's like, "I expect that from a Yankees fan." And it was the pitcher from the Red Sox.
Oh,
because the host was from New York City, and he was like, "I expect it from you." I'm like, who better to call out somebody like that than the Red Sox pitcher?
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, that's awesome.
That's
that's awesome.
That's crazy. I don't know.
But-
Food challenge. I love food challenges, but I can't do them.
Even though we went drastically, we were kind of ending off the channel, but let me just say this: all our social media links are found on our main website, which is thelongcoatmafia.podbean.com, where all our episodes can be found, downloaded, and or streamed on site. That means all our panel episodes, all our interviews, everything can be found there. But if you rather go through a platform, we are available on iTunes. This is if you're on a desktop or laptop computer. We're available on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, and I think plus a few others, but those are the main ones we can be found on your desktop. And the best thing about our website is that there's a little bit of a history of it. Yes, it's got to be updated with a few minor things, but again, all our episodes are there, our complete history. You're more than welcome to look at our back catalog, going all the way back to the beginning to see how cringeworthy we were 4.5 years ago, all the way up to now. I think we're cringeworthy with better equipment. But still, you're more than welcome to check out our back catalog with what we've done. We've had great interviews, especially with like John Johnson. We've mentioned Earl before. He was one of our first interviews we've done with local people. So you're more than happy to look at those. And because it's right now February 29th as we do this, and still considered Women's and Horror Month, we do recommend checking out our Monique Dupree episode that we've done a few years ago. She is a wonderful person to speak to and a wonderful person to meet. And she's done so much. And
it's Tony Todd's sister.
Right. I didn't want to get, bring that. Yeah. But she's done so much.
But on her own story?
On her own, she's done so much. She's a wonderful person. Yeah. And plus we've had many other people that we had, what's her name? She was our first panel and our first, in a way, our first interview, too.
Rachel? No, not Rachel.
No.
What's her name?
Davis.
Rochelle
Davis.
Yes.
She was one of our first panel episodes that we've done for the show, which can be found on our website. Mm-hmm. Let's see. As for if you're on a mobile device, we are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio.
Or you can call us at 1-800.
SEX.
1-800 long something.
Something. SUX.
$2.99 a minute.
All profits go to Long Coat Mafia Pocket.
Wouldn't it be funny if we did get an 800?
I guess I could Google it.
You can still buy it. Right?
I don't know. But Google
Messenger. They call me and comes up with someone.
Maybe folks at home, folks listening, if you think that we should get like a Google Messenger type of thing, because that you get like a Google number that people can leave messages on. You could download the messages.
I want an 800 number that I can leave messages. Like, remember how they used to have those fan club 800 numbers?
I think you do that with Google. You get like
leave like a pre-recorded message on there.
Right. I think a few podcasts do that. They have like a free number through Google.
It always sounds terrible. It used to be like, hey, it just like sound like you were in like friggin' like in underwater.
Like I said, I could research that in regards to Google, and people could, if you want that, let us know.
Right.
If you'd want us to have like a Google voicemail service that you can leave your own comments.
We'll play them on the air.
And we'll play them on air. We'll put them into heck, we have the ability to put them in our sound machine and play them for all of you out there. So as per mobile, again, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify. We're pretty much where podcasts are found on mobile devices, as well as the Podbean app. And as always,
you can even get copies of our show from Sketchy Larry downtown. He'll be selling them under his trench coat.
Just don't ask him to open it up. You don't want to see that. Actually, we try to pay him not to do that.
He's down there going to podcast.
You don't want to know where he keeps them. Trust me.
Hey, bro, the podcast?
Hey,
you want the podcast?
About it? Buy a podcast?
You want the podcast?
So either way, we're going to go for now. So stay tuned for next couple of weeks. We'll have a lot of different stuff for you, brand new stuff. It won't be just me. Hopefully, make sign of the cross, praise to the fates, rolls a D20 dice, fills out a few cards, but does a scratch off right here in the studio. But either way, see you all next week. Have fun, and we are out.
Audi 5000.
See you next time on the Long Coat Mafia.